The biggest challenge to long lasting transformation is the topic I'm going to be talking about today on the Results Kill Excuses show. Welcome to my channel. My name is Greg. I've been going through a spiritual awakening since 2012 when I hit rock bottom. And that doesn't mean that it was just that caused me to really shift my trajectory in life. There were so many other things that led up to that. And ultimately, when I look at the state of manhood, masculinity, blue collar men in 2024, not just here in the US, but worldwide, men are absolutely in dire straits mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. When 2,000 men a day are choosing death over life, we got a major problem. Here in the US, that's 100 men. And yet I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. And it's just every single day it takes you waking up, you sharpening your axe, meaning your mind, and start swinging that motherfucker and getting some shit done. And if you're new to this channel, I really do appreciate you finding me. And I hope that you'll comment down below so that we can find each other, connect with each other, because I know that the next evolution of my growth and my expansion throughout this 12-year journey is to truly focus in on serving men that are really suffering, put a voice to the blue collar men that are literally just feeling unloved, unappreciated, right? Unworthy, unseen, unheard, right? And yet they get kind of we all get clumped up in this whole, oh, it's this toxic patriarchy and all men are just slamming their fists, narcissistic control freaks. And and that is a damn shame, because most men are living a very painful existence. Most men. And they don't, the thing about men is when it comes to communicating what's really going on under, like how we feel, we do not know how to put words to that. There's very few men on this planet that have mastered the art of communicating our feelings, right? Our hurts, our pains in a way that gives us still a sense of empowerment, but also allows others, especially our intimate partners, to understand who the fuck we are and where we're coming from. And that it's not that we're messed up. I can tell you my last relationship, I told this woman, I'm broken. Like, you need to know that I'm broken. Oh, that's fine, man. She was so in love. And that was a stigma that I had put on myself through the VA, right? And the disabilities. And yet it becomes a stigma, it becomes an identity. And there's a lot of victimization in that. And a lot of men have been raked over the coals through family court and through, child protective services and not having access to their kids. And, just, I can relate to the times when I was married that I would come home, busting my ass, right? Long day work. And I'm telling you, I got a house full of kids. There's a wife in there. And the only thing that's looking to waiting for me to acknowledge my existence was my dog. Was my dog. And it seems like I would get home, the dog will be there, so happy to see me. Oh, man, just so much love in the heart of a dog, and no one else, man. No one else would really kinda lift a finger, you know? It's like, "Here, I'm here to pay all the bills. I'm here." You know, I picked up the stuff from the store. I did all this other shit. Nothing, man, nothing. And I'm not trying to say that that's, a victim thing, right? It's just it was the reality, and again, the biggest challenge is to take ownership of that, like, to know that that was the situation that I created, right? As the man, I'm gonna take responsibility, and that was part of hitting the rock bottom. That's the breaking point for me, was saying, "I can't do this no more. I need to figure this shit out." And the biggest challenge is saying that every single day, saying it every single day. Because I can tell you today, I've been pushing myself very hard, hard physically, hard mentally, putting out this content and working on a whole lot of stuff on the back end that just people just have no idea. They just no one knows, right? No one knows. The dog, she's still there. She knows. And yet, the biggest challenge is that there's so many other obstacles and things to navigate. And I'm just so grateful for the work that I've done on that inner emotional healing. But that was the biggest challenge, and it continues to show up no matter how far down this healing journey I've been. A day like today, right? The things that I won't do, right? I won't drink anymore. I won't get high, right? And I still have impulses to use porn from time to time. Um, but that doesn't even do the trick. And yet I've also released the sweets, the junk food, and I just stick to this really small box of for my nutrition. So at least I'm keeping and honoring that. And I'm honoring the fact that I keep getting back in the gym, whether I feel like it or not. And I keep showing up to work and I have a lot of stuff going on there. But there's just times when shit hits the fan, something unexpected happens, and it just takes you for a ride. And then you're trying to figure out, like, what's the escape route? That's the biggest challenge. What is your escape route? And most of you listening to this, you got a lot of different options. And most of them are no good because there's no healing. There's no ownership there. There's no um, extreme ownership when you are looking for the escape route. When you're looking for, I can remember like the old school days. I'm not a gamer, but I did play Nintendo and Mario Brothers. You'd always hit the little secret doors and it would portal you to the end. And it's like you miss all the challenge, all the enemies, and the enemies is within. It's our feelings, it's our thoughts. And so today it's like I had this really challenging situation and it's still not even fully resolved. And it had me so twisted and turned emotionally. And yet I felt like I grew a lot because I do fall back on holistic tools of like kicking off my shoes and socks. This shit sounds hippy dippy as fuck, but it works, and I'm going outside, going for a walk, doing some breath work. Right. I didn't get a workout in today, but then I got home and I cleaned the house and it's like, I put my energy into my space, wanting that to be fresh, clean, tidy. and that helped. And then there's also just to be able to just no distractions, no music, no listening to shit, and just going for a drive and saying and working with my inner self saying, "You know what? It's okay to there's a way for you as a man," right? This is me talking to myself. There's a way for you as a man to feel concerned in this about this situation, scared, uneasy, a little what else was I really feeling? Frustrated, unclear, kind of helpless. And it's just I don't want to get into the details, but it's something that I was looking in trying to address. It's a problem at my home, and I wasn't able to solve it in the moment. And yet I'm not sure if what I did fixed it or not, but I got to wait to find out. And so it really stressed me the fuck out not being able to problem solve that. And then it really I was like the growth moment was to say, I'm not going to turn to any escape routes, and I want to be able to become the man that when I have this massive challenge in front of me, when I have this total uncertainty that I'm having to face, and all of this shit is happening inside of me, that one, I can honor the shit for a few minutes, but then I can start to pivot my mind and say, no matter what's going on there, I don't want it to change who I am. Like, I want to still be rooted, grounded, powerful, confident, abundant, knowing that this could feel like sometimes we get so caught up and tunneled into a problem that we feel like it's life or death. And it's like, no, man, pull back, pull back. This is a difficult thing that needs to get fixed, but it's like, it'll get fixed. It's gonna get fixed one way or another. This is not gonna be the thing that fucking does me in by not even by a long shot, based on everything I've been through, that I've lived through, that I've grown through, that I've expanded myself through. And it's in the that dialogue with ourselves when we say no distractions, no escape routes, just me, myself, and I. And we're gonna regulate the internal state. We're not gonna suppress it. We're not gonna numb it. And I used to be the best at that, both of those, suppression and numbing, just trying to play it cool, like everything's fucking cool. When it's like, I now know how to say it's not cool. And I know there's a lot of men out there, you're probably one of them, that's like, you know, feeling like your efforts are never enough. And it's just like, when I look back on the course of my life, that's the race. That is the journey. I talk about hitting the rock bottom in 2012, which was like an 18-month death spiral because I had given up a 3-year sobriety that started in 2009. And I'm that person, one is too many and a thousand's never enough. And it's just like death spiral until I finally crashed and burned. But in 2008, 2009, I mean, I had a whole total life upheaval experience that I've survived through, which is, the whole economic collapse of 08, 09, if you can recall. And I had a very successful promotional products company at the time in Southern California, San Clemente. And I had like over $1.5 million in real estate in my 20s. And yet it all fell off the cliff. Everything fell off the cliff. The whole thing came crashing down. And it wasn't because I was getting drunk, high, and getting lazy. I was 1,000% willing to do the work. I always have been that man. But yet that loss really jacked me up. It really jacked me up because I had a whole vision built out for having a family and living in this incredible place, being a kid from a small town, here in the Southwest, and, move into the West Coast, and fucking having a huge come up, and then boom, it just all imploded. Crazy. And a lot of that is what led to the death spiral, right? Was the depression off of that, was all the grief and the loss and the denial. I couldn't believe it had happened. And, I was a pretty miserable guy throughout those years. But I've always been a man that's picked himself back up, right? So even after crashing and burning in 2012, I picked myself back up. I said, enough's enough. I'm going to get sober. I'm going to get help, and I'm going to reinvent myself. And so I even pulled the levers to start utilizing VA benefits to go back to school and finish some higher education so I could have better qualifications for all the leadership and management experience, right? And through the course of 2012, like it was about 2012 through 2016 into 2017, I finished 3 college degrees. And a lot of people, I was one of them, I used to write that shit off. Like, I'm killing it, man. I don't need no piece of paper. And then there came a time I was like, fuck, I need a piece of paper. Holy shit. And yet there's still lots of creative ways, but I just had lost the will to be the entrepreneur that I've always been, coming off of that huge loss of having my whole entire life implode, get pushed off the cliff. I lost my business that was super successful, losing my home. I mean, having to pack up, a 2-year-old daughter. My son was 3 months old at the time. He's 15 now, 2 dogs. I mean, it was a modern day wagon train the fuck out of California back here to New Mexico. So I know there's a lot of men out there suffering, and I'm a man that has suffered many days, many nights, many weeks, many months, and many years. And even today, it was just like, man, the emotions were raw, man. They were thick. I was feeling overwhelmed. And it's just sort of like I always relate it to like riding the waves of life, man. Like, it's like this frequency of energy that's the highs and the lows, and you got to learn how to fucking carve that shit out. And it never feels good. And that's the biggest challenge is, as a man, are you gonna allow yourself the freedom to let go of all the bullshit that you're using, right? To numb, right? To self-medicate, to as an escape route, right? The secret passage that gets you somewhere else, but it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't heal anything. And that's why men, they just keep running and running and running and running and running. And yet you just keep feeling worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm going to just keep getting back on here no matter what, man. I'm getting back on here. I am called to serve men. And, it's a shame that there's so many men out there that don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. They feel unappreciated, unloved. And they're busting their fucking asses every single day. Every single day. And they're underpaid, undervalued, underloved. Right? And these people got families like crazy. It's so sad. It's so sad, man. Like Father's Day is like the one day, right? A birthday and a Father's Day is like if there's like a couple days a year, man, that you can get a little bit of loving. And so I'm cooking up some challenges. I'm also cooking up some groups. I want to launch a group in July that's going to be online, open to any man that wants to be on. It'll be probably twice a month. And yeah, if you made it this far in the video, sometimes I just run flow, reflecting on the challenges of life and then trying to filter that through, like, what is the pain that men are feeling right now, and it's extreme emotional pain, and we don't know how to just put together the words to say, I'm hurting, I need help, I need a timeout, I need a sabbatical, man. Can't imagine how many men out there would just love a sabbatical, like a 2-week immersion retreat for just you to be outdoors, to connect with other men. I mean, that would be a beautiful thing to put together. That's kind of on my mind as well in the future, the near future, because I think this is taking off. And I can't thank you enough for being a part of this. And there's so much more to come because I'm putting in this work and it's inspired and it's challenging. And it's like the more that it's because of the topic that I'm choosing to go up against. It's like I'm hitting so much resistance. The enemy wants to take me out, and I'm hard to kill, motherfuckers. I'm hard to kill, and so do you. You need to be, it's that mindset to say, be hard to kill. Right? Results kill excuses. We're some badass motherfucking warriors that are hard to kill, and we're definitely not going to take ourselves out. We have to stand against that. We have to stand with each other, be there for each other. Men need men. And I really invite you, I welcome you into this camp to be a part of this conversation, this community. Comment down below where you're from. Comment down below if there's topics that you would like for me to discuss. But just know that I'm running hard, but not in the sense where I'm exhausting myself. I know the balance. I know when to rest, and I know when to push through. And, that's a part of this biggest challenge, is saying, how do we, one, start to build a tribe of men, a community of men that are, one, sick and tired of being sick and tired, have the fucking internal intestinal fortitude to ask for some help, to get some help, and to not give the fuck up, right? To stop seeking validation from the external, right? Let's cultivate validation. That's what I did today. Like, in the worst emotional state, which didn't last too long. I mean, we're talking maybe a couple hours. I was just in a mood, feeling stressed out, feeling agitated. And yet, the powerful thing is, a lot of us as men, we can function in those states. Like, we can actually still be pretty fucking productive. It's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? You can still show up and knock out a day's work. And it's just, that's a survival mechanism. That's that drive. And it's like, if you can do that, man, you can almost do anything. But you can also reprogram yourself so that you can honor whatever's going on there. And it's that self-discovery, is like, where does this come from? What is the fear? What is these emotions that makes me so uncomfortable? Where is the origin? What's the root of it? Because it's like pulling a weed. If you just weed whack it, it comes right back. And that's what the drugs, the alcohol, the porn, the food, the sports, the entertainment, the gambling, the negative thinking, the scrolling, that's weed whacking, right? You have all these weeds inside of you. And if you just weed whack them, it comes right back. It comes right back. Right. But if you learn how to get into the depths of who you are and pull back all the layers, that it's not about your spouse or your boss or your lover, it's this shit goes all the way back to when you were a little chitlin running around, right? Run around. This goes all the way back to there. And thus, you need to basically go in that time machine back to there and reconnect with that inner child to heal these wounds, to redefine your experiences, to release these experiences. And I'm here to help. I'm absolutely here to help you. It's not just talk here, right? One of the things that I'll be showing here very soon is the Results Kill Excuses app that has an academy component to it with some free coursework and a master program that's going to actually help you do some deeper self-discovery, self-awareness. And I think it's going to be fun. It shouldn't be so boring. You do got to be able to put up with my talking head, encouraging you and sharing my stories and sharing my experience, sharing this healing journey. And so the biggest challenge is for me to continue showing up for me first, showing up for my kids next, and then showing up for you, this community of men that are searching for the answers, that are looking for the solutions. And we all know damn well that we have the solution right here inside of us. You have everything you need right now. I leave you with that. You have everything you need right now. There's nothing outside of you that you need to solve whatever has you messed up, right? Even when you're feeling unloved, unappreciated, and I've been there, man, where I'm just like paying everything, doing all this, backflips, honeydews, you name it, and just feeling so fucking unappreciated. It's still not even about that. It's not about that other person. It's still about us. We need that validation. We put our stock, our worth, our identity in the affection and the admiration and the loving of someone else. And usually that was rooted in our childhood, daddy issues, mommy issues. It's time for you to be daddy and mommy and whoever else you need to be in order to really stabilize your nervous system, heal that inner child, and then start kicking some motherfucking ass each and every day, knowing that it's not going to get easy. That's the biggest challenge, but you do need to cut the vices, right? You do need to take that extreme ownership, right? That's what's going to give you breakthroughs. That's what's going to fulfill your purpose. It's not a hopeless world, man. It's an infinite abundant. There's a gift inside of you. Like, right? If money wasn't even an issue, what would you do right now? Like, if you can accomplish everything that you dreamed of. I heard this today from another content creator, and I appreciate him putting that out there. But I'll leave you with this. Imagine that you could accomplish anything you put your mind to. So now you're sitting there and you're fully accomplished. You feel fulfilled. What would you do next? Like, you're totally fulfilled, but what would you do next? Now that you've accomplished and conquered everything that you could ever imagine, what's next? And the thing that this guy said, and I wish I could give him credit, but I don't have his information. It was just a story he said, was the thing about it is, if there's nothing else that you would do, just keep doing the same thing, then you have found your purpose. But if you were to like solve all your problems and then be like, well, then I'd want to go do that. Well, that next thing, if there was still something more that you'd want to do, well, then that's the aim. That's actually the aim. This other thing is to fulfill ego and status or emotional stability, security, right? Which is what most of us want as men, because we're looked to so heavily as being the provider, right? Most of us really, really, really are frustrated with ourselves because we feel like we're coming up short in terms of the bag. And so we don't feel that financial stability within us, but you could definitely cultivate a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, and there's a way to find that. There's a way through for you to truly generate wealth, especially if you have skills. I know so many men, man, you guys are giving so much of your time and your talents to something else, building someone else's business, when in 24, man, like, you need to have that side hustle be your main hustle that's really, using your gifts, using your talents, generating some income, right? And then giving yourself some freedom to be able to figure out, those gifts. And I have some solutions for you coming down the pike. So stay tuned. I know that we can do this if we work together. So thank you for being here. I love you guys. I send you so much love. Whatever you do, man, do not take your own life. If you're in that kind of dire strait or you know somebody that's in there, share this message with them, right? Subscribe to the channel, share the message. We need to rally around men that are suffering in silence right now. We need to really amplify this and give men an opportunity to heal so that they can find their voice, find their truth, and speak their truth in a way that makes them feel empowered, makes them feel valued, makes them feel loved and cherished and cared for the way that they should be. And so I'm going to keep getting back on here. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses. Where your growth equals greatness. Greg's out.